Good morning, Dan and Amy. And here's how Newt Gingrich put it over the weekend. First reacting to Joe Biden's unity plea in his victory speech on Saturday night. Newt Gingrich appreciated the sentiment, but in terms of everybody getting together to work collaboratively on advancing socialism in America, maybe not.
Well, look, it's a nice sentiment. First, you go out and the Democrats steal 5 or 6 states, and that's what Republicans believe we're watching. We think we have evidence of a lot of it. Then you turn around and you say, let's forget 4 years of Nancy Pelosi. Let's forget 4 years of impeachment, harassment, opposition, hostility, hatred. And now that I've won, why don't we get nice together? I think he would have to do a lot to convince Republicans that this is anything except a left-wing power grab financed by people like George Soros, deeply laid in at the local level. And frankly, I think that it is a corrupt, stolen election. It's very hard for me to understand how we're going to work together without some very, very big steps by Biden. And I have doubts if the left wing of his party would tolerate him genuinely trying to work with Republicans.
I think that's pretty spot on. Yeah. And with respect to the assertions of frauding the election, and that's the reason that the media was able to call the election for Joe Biden on Saturday and expedite their desire to put Trump in the rearview mirror as quickly as possible. Gingrich had this to say, to the charge of that fraud. Well, what about the evidence? You have to provide evidence. I haven't seen any evidence. There's no evidence. That was the mantra of the Sunday Talkie hosts.
What I'm suggesting is you don't see the evidence because the local officials who are Democrats hide the evidence and then turn to you and say, since you have no evidence. So they say, oh, we let the poll watchers in the building. That's right. But they kept them far enough away they couldn't see anything. And I think I can show you case after case. It happened magically at almost exactly the same moment on election night that a series of key states quit counting, almost as though they were coordinating what they were doing. And then it happened a few hours later, about 4 in the morning, that they had huge data dumps of Biden votes. Now, I don't know how do you prove that without really having to get the FBI directly involved? And given the FBI for the last 4 years, why would you trust them? The entire deep state has tried to destroy Trump for 4 years. We know it now as a fact. We know that how hard they worked to undermine him. And I think if you're a typical Trump supporter, you regard this as an effort by people on the left to do everything they can at every level, including the news media. The news media is 93% anti-Trump. Why would we take seriously the news media anointing Biden? Yeah, I mean, this is not a coronation. We have a legal process. We get to have recounts. We get to verify things. We get to go to court. None of this is over till that entire process has been followed.
And something that is worth noting, that is remarkable, regardless of what the ultimate outcome in this is captured by Brendan O'Neill, who's the editor of Spiked Online, in his piece in the New York Post over the weekend, where all the talk, of course, is about Joe Biden piling up the most votes for presidential candidate, presidential ticket in American history. Yeah. Well, in second place is one Donald Trump, also ahead of Barack Obama's 2008 total. And what does that say? That says 70 million Americans are beyond the reach of the elites in charge of academia and Wall Street, the D.C. press corps, and Fortune 500 C-suites, K through 12 systems governed by public sector unions. 70 million Americans are hip to the scam. And that's an encouraging note, even if this doesn't work out Trump's way. For more on all this, we're pleased to be joined by Paul Kengor. He's a professor of political science at Grove City College in Grove City, PA, contributor to the American Spectator, and author of The Devil and Karl Marx, Communism's Long March of Death, Deception, and Infiltration. Professor Kengor, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Dan and Amy.
So what's your bird's eye view from Grove City, PA?
Well, it's pretty depressing, frankly. You could have added to Newt Gingrich's list there of our great unifier, Joe Biden. Let's not forget how he accused Donald Trump of killing 200,000 people through COVID-19. And he and Kamala many times during the debates, right? There are 200,000 dead people thanks to Donald Trump. And in fact, I'm going to hunt down those quotes. And then here we are today, and I just went to the Drudge Report to get sick, and I see that Drudge has COVID miracle, right? That's the lead at Drudge. Jab, 90% protection, stock soar. And I was waiting for this news on the COVID vaccine to see if it would hit before the election. It didn't. It came 1 week after. It reminds me of 1992 when the third quarter growth numbers for George H.W. Bush came in 1 week after he lost to Bill Clinton, and Tom Brokaw got in the air and with a kind of a smirk on his face said, and now the economy is fully recovered, just like President George Bush said that it would be. And, at that point, it was a little too late. Of course, if Pfizer had reported this last Monday, the media wouldn't have reported it. So it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Trump wouldn't have gotten a bump from it. And I'll tell you something else that I'm looking at, and I wrote on this for American Spectator last week on what's happening here in Pennsylvania. Dan and Amy, there are 100,000 provisional ballots that are still out in Pennsylvania. And I've got the tally here right in front of me, and it's trending about what I thought it would be, 60% for Donald Trump. Wow. And if this holds up, it's going to be, those provisional ballots will be about 60,000 to 40,000 for Donald Trump. So he'll gain a 20,000 vote advantage on that, and that will cut Biden's lead in Pennsylvania to under 20,000 overall. So there'll be a difference between him and Trump of 0.5%. And that'll trigger an automatic recount in the state of Pennsylvania. And we still don't have overseas ballots and other ballots that are in yet. So Pennsylvania is not over yet. And Donald Trump is right to continue to question this. I mean, the media called Arizona too early, especially Fox, and they called Pennsylvania too early as well. So this is not over.
Well, when do you see it? I mean, they have to take the vote December 8th. How much time is this going to take?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure. And it's also not over in Pennsylvania, too, Amy, because Pennsylvania is the center of the Supreme Court case,
right?
Where we had four partisan elected Democrat judges, 4-3 on the state court, who try to change Pennsylvania election law, which they're not allowed to do. It's the legislature's province to decide this, and they're the one that decided to extend the voting, the postmark after November 3rd, and kept changing this. They can't do that. They constitutionally can't do that. And so the Trump administration, Alito intervened last week, and it's quite possible that all ballots received after November 3rd could be ruled out. And if that's the case, that'll give Donald Trump Pennsylvania as well. I know that's going to really upset people, but if they're angry about it, they should blame the Democrats on the California or on the Pennsylvania court for doing this in the first place.
Well,
they're the ones that sold them out.
Do you have a handle on what the split would be if all of the votes collected after November 3rd were discarded?
Oh yeah, Trump by a landslide. Yeah, it wouldn't even be close. I mean, remember, when we all went to bed, or some of us went to bed here on East Coast time, I went to bed about 2:30 a.m. the night of the election, so that would have been, I guess, not Tuesday night, but it would have been Wednesday morning at that point. And Donald Trump was up by 600,000 votes in Pennsylvania. He was up 58-41. I've never seen numbers like that for a Republican over a Democrat. And that slowly dwindled over the next few days until Biden finally surpassed Trump on Friday, of all things, Friday. And then the media was like, whoa!
No.
I guess we could declare a winner now.
Right. No, I mean, I get that, but I just want to be clear. That it's one thing, and I'm asking, I'm not saying. As those votes were being counted, that lead diminished, as you're describing, precisely correct. But were all those ballots received after November 3rd and counted, or could they have been received before 8 o'clock on November 3rd and they just were counted after that?
Well, that's a good question. And so that I don't know for sure. I don't know if anybody knows that for sure yet. And that's something that would absolutely have to be determined. And that was Alito's statement about, quote unquote, segregating those votes.
Right.
That came in after 8 o'clock on November 3rd. I had a member of my family who did not get the absentee ballot until I think it was that day, or maybe even the day after. And my wife finally just said, "Hey, go ahead and fill it out. I know it's Thursday, right? Go ahead and fill it out and send it in, because who knows, right? Who knows if they're going to count these or not." So, and that ballot, that absentee, should have arrived about 4 weeks ago. So it's hard to say, but Alito's right on segregating those ballots. You might as well segregate them if they came in after the 8th, after 8 p.m. on November 3rd. And also, too, I don't know, Dan, if you're paying attention to this, if you saw it, you probably did. A lot of people saw it. A piece in the Washington Examiner, among others, about a postal worker in Erie.
Yeah, right.
Who did a sworn
James
affidavit.
O'Keefe, right.
Yeah, and that is, I'm looking at the numbers for Pennsylvania. When I saw the statewide map go up on, I think it was CNN on Thursday or Friday, and I saw the handful of blue counties in Pennsylvania, and one of them was in the upper north corner, Erie, and I looked at that and I said, "Whoa, Erie? Erie voted for Biden? No way. Mm-hmm. There's no way Erie voted for Biden. I mean, Erie voted for Trump over Hillary." And Trump got, I actually have the numbers in front of me. Trump got way outperformed in Erie what he did in 2016. There's no way Joe Biden won Erie. There's just no way, and I'm convinced there's no way he won Pennsylvania. Donald Trump right now, we're looking at about 400,000 more votes he got in Pennsylvania in 2020 that he did in 2016.
And so,
and you're going to lose it.
And you're talking about turnout in Pennsylvania. Then that would have been north of 70% overall.
Yeah. So Trump got 2.9 million votes in Pennsylvania in 2016, and right now he's over 3.3 million. So 400,000 votes might not sound like a lot to people I'm talking to in Chicago, right? But 400,000. Do the math. 400,000 over 2.9 million. I mean, that's a big jump. And frankly, it's what we expected. We thought, well, Biden's not going to get. There's no enthusiasm in Pennsylvania for Biden, none whatsoever. And Donald Trump even improved with a minority vote. This is pretty remarkable. Donald Trump actually got almost 20% of the vote in Philadelphia. People are thinking, "Wow, that sucks," right? No, I would have been surprised if he got 10. He actually got 20% of the vote in Philadelphia. Allegheny County, which is Pittsburgh's county, he got 40% of the vote. 40. So, and the mail-in ballots, we did an estimate last week, so did the Trump campaign, that Biden would have needed to get about 80% of the mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania to catch Trump. And I think the Trump campaign estimated 78%. I estimated 80%. Well, he must have gotten 83 or 85 to pass Trump, and I don't know where he's getting those. He didn't even get 80% in Philadelphia. A lot of those counties were Republican counties, including mine, Mercer, where Trump got 63, 65% of the vote. One of them is Beaver, fracking country. That's the home, by the way, of Mike Ditka. 58% went for Trump. York County, which is a high population, 62% went for Trump. So I don't know where Biden or how Biden could have gotten 80% of those mail-in ballots. This is all very, very hard to believe.
Very curious numbers. Yeah, we're seeing that in these swing states. It's whether it's turnout or whether it's just a performance in areas where you're not expected to do as well, like you mentioned in Philadelphia, which is like Chicago. Getting 20% is a good number for a Republican these days, and yet you still lose. It is very curious. Paul Kengor is professor of political science at Grove City College in Grove City, PA, contributor to the American Spectator, author of The Devil and Karl Marx, Communism's Long March of Death, Deception, and Infiltration. Professor Kengor, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Take care.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.